Hello everyone, I'm Brent Pierce, and today for my in-flight emergency for commercial ground, I'm going to be talking about engine failure. So prior to the procedure for engine out in flight, I want to talk about how you can kind of set yourself up for success before you head out on your flight. And it has to do with pre-flight planning. So, for instance, if you're going to plan a flight anywhere, you should always be cognizant of, worst case scenario. Just as if you get into your car, worst case scenario, buckle your seatbelt. I mean, it's now a more intuitive, cognitive activity, as it should be now for pilots, as far along as we are in our flight training. So, what I mean by that is, if you're going to plan a route, you should take into consideration in case engine out. Set yourself up for success by flying over predominantly, areas that you have outreach to fields, not trafficked roads, kind of stay clear of power lines. Make sure if you're flying, maybe connect to different airfields, like fly over them. Like for instance, you don't want to fly over Lake Michigan, per se, in a single engine airplane, over the large part if your altitude doesn't give you your glide to get back, if that makes sense. I mean, let's say you're at 10,000 feet and MSL, and that'll give you winds calm, a glide distance of 15 nautical miles. Well, the widest spot in Lake Michigan is 70 nautical miles. So maybe just plan your route around in case anything happens. At night, you can look at sectional charts, and you can look at lit areas and non-lit areas, and plan a route accordingly around those areas. So if anything happens, you can land adjacent to them, so you have civilization to go to if you need to make a landing like that. So moving forward, on my PowerPoint here, first slide, talking about the ABCs. The first letter is A. So engine out, what do you want to do? You want to pitch for the best airspeed. That's going to give you the most glide for your aircraft, and for the aircraft that I fly, which is the PA-28181 Piper Archer, that is 76 knots. So you want to pitch for that, trim it out, so that's all good to go. Simultaneously, you want to be looking for B, which is the best field, best area to land, best airfield, so on and so forth with that. As all this is going through, as you're cycling through that, you come up on C, which is communication. So what you're going to want to do there is you're going to want to communicate what's going on. So immediately you want to squawk 7600. 7700 rather, in flight emergency. 76 is lost comp. And upon doing so, you want to go on the international flight emergency frequency, which is 121.5, and mayday, mayday, mayday. Be specific, stay calm as you are continuing the best glide speed, airspeed, and you are on a continued path towards your predetermined possible landing location. And then you're just gonna run through, stay calm, tell them what's going on, and this is gonna happen quick. That the ABCs, and as you do that for the ABCs, you want to establish yourself with the aircraft. You want to make sure that you're running through everything to make sure that you're doing everything you can to get the aircraft going again. If it's looking like, it's not cranking, so on and so forth. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to fire. Is you're going to want to, while you're maintaining your best airspeed and all that, you want to go carb heat on, tanks to both, mixture full rich, and then you're going to crank, and you're going to pump the throttle. You're going to keep cranking and keep cranking. You can do trial and error. You switch the fuel tanks. You check the magnetos. you keep doing it because you could be carb ice. You got your carburetor heat on. You have that applied. You're switching your tanks. You're putting a mixture to full, and you keep cranking, and keep trying to get that thing to turn over. If you got some time, look at your breakers. Check that out. Make sure everything's good. Otherwise, right before you're landing, I want to land at the most minimal controllable airspeed, preferably into the wind, to eliminate your ground roll. And then as you're coming down to land, you want to wedge the door. And prior to that, make sure your safety belts are all on harness, which it should be. Wedge the door, and then after a successful safe landing, you want to move upwind from the aircraft so you don't have, if there is any smoke running towards you. But prior to landing, everything off. That's what you want. So again, I'm Brent Pierce. This concludes my brief. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much for taking the time.